At last, the day is here. Resident Evil 4 Remake is out and we can all play it. There has been some lingering fear in the hearts of those who revere this game as one of the best video games of all time. And what is that fear? The fear that the remake would ruin this legendary game. So, did it ruin it? Or did it do the impossible and improved on this masterpiece? Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy and this is my non-spoiler review for Resident Evil 4 Remake for PS5. This game was developed and published by Capcom. So what's gonna be my approach to this review, considering this is a remake of a game that I played quite a few years ago? I'm gonna be focusing on the merits of the remake itself, and I will be pointing out some differences that it has with the original, but I won't focus completely on that. So this review is for newcomers and old fans alike. So what is the story of Resident Evil 4 Remake? In this game, you play as Leon Kennedy, who was one of the protagonists for Resident Evil 2. He has been assigned a special task by the President of the United States of America to rescue his daughter. You are sent to a remote village, and as soon as you arrive, you start to notice that things are not what they seem, and everything starts to go horribly wrong. There is something that is definitely wrong with the villagers that live in this place. Now it's up to you to find Ashley Graham and rescue her from this nightmarish location and find out what the heck is going on here. Resident Evil 4 Remake story is divided into 16 chapters. One thing you will immediately notice is that the story presentation and atmosphere are greatly improved from the original. The game has a darker tone and has leaned in more into the horror atmosphere and aesthetics, and the story is presented in a much more intriguing and visually impressive way, thanks not only to the direction, but to the beautiful graphics of the RE engine. So let's talk about the visuals. All I can say is that this game was created with the RE engine, and as you probably know, this gives us some highly realistic visuals. The environment and character models all look highly realistic, and the game has a darker tone that really shows since the very first moment you start the game. Resident Evil 4 Remake setting looks visually incredible and really delivers on the sci-fi cultic horror. In what regards to the music, it is excellent. There's a good mix of atmospheric tracks with some adrenaline generating tracks. The soundtrack is very dynamic. As soon as you go into a fight, the music starts pumping up and becomes really strong and very adrenaline focused. And as soon as you finish fighting the enemies, the tones go back to a more slow and atmospheric style. In general, the music beautifully complements the visuals and the story and setting of the game. One thing that I really need to point out in what regards to the music and sound design is that they did a really good job, I feel, with the voice acting of the enemies, where this time around, the chanting of the enemies is actually very creepy. I remember that was one of the things that really turned me off from the original game. The enemies sounded stupid and looked stupid, but here, none of that. When you hear the enemies chanting, it's very fear-inducing and eerie. So let's talk about the gameplay. Resident Evil 4 Remake is a third-person horror survival game, and it focuses on fighting, exploration, and some light puzzle solving. Let's start talking about the fight. You will constantly face waves of enemies that you can kill with your guns, knives, and environmental elements like exploding barrels. This means that in each encounter you must use your arsenal wisely and must use the environment to your advantage. There is a wide variety of enemies. The game features a new parry mechanic with the knife and stealth if you wish to use it. Knives deteriorate and break after multiple uses. There is a wide variety of weapons, so that you have multiple options to choose from when you're fighting enemies. Some weapons can be found, and most of them can be bought at the merchant. The merchant sells weapons, recipes for crafting, and can upgrade your weapons. You can sell treasures to gain money, and he has a special selection of items that you can trade for with special currency that you acquire completing side quests. In general, the fighting in this game is always engaging and fun. I was surprised because they managed to strike a balance where in your first playthrough at least, you don't feel overpowered and it feels challenging. The game features a new game plus and multiple difficulties, and obviously if you carry over your weapons from your previous playthrough, the game will become much more easier. So attempting harder difficulties is recommended if you want to keep challenging yourself. In what regards to the exploration, the world of Resident Evil 4 Remake is one map with different areas that connect. You are incentivized to explore so that you can find treasures that you can sell for money that you can use at the merchant to buy and upgrade your weapons. You can find key items and resources too as you explore. You will notice that some areas are not accessible until later on in the game when you have Ashley with you. As the story progresses, areas will change and feature new enemies. You will find side quests that the merchant leaves in the form of flyers that, if completed, grant you a special type of currency used for trading for special items. And with regards to the puzzle solving, it's very light. You'll find the occasional puzzle that you need to solve, but these are extremely simple and are kept to a minimum. I think this is a good moment to point out some of the differences that this remake has with the original. Among them are new enemies, new mechanics like the parry mechanic and the stealth mechanics, side quests, no quick time events, and a special one. There is a shooting gallery minigame that is extremely fun and was added in the remake. So let's talk about the cons and the pros of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Let's start with the cons. Resident Evil 4 Remake did not expand on the story. For the most part, the game follows the same story beat to beat as the original. However, it does have a better story presentation due to the upgraded visuals and small changes to how they present the cult and setting. The fact that they did not change or expand on the story is a shame, because Capcom went out of their way to add elements to Resident Evil 3 Remake and Village to tie these games together with the setting of Resident Evil 4. So I was hoping for some changes in the Resident Evil 4 Remake story that tied back to the greater Resident Evil lore, and sadly, that didn't happen. My second complaint with this game is Ada's voice acting, which in my opinion is not up to the quality of the rest of the game. This is not necessarily a critique to the voice actress. It's either a line delivery problem or that the voice actress that they chose was not a good fit. Ada's lines sound dry and stiff, and to me the voice just doesn't go with Ada's design. And the first time you hear her, at least to me, it was very jarring. It's a huge contrast to Resident Evil 2 Remake's Ada voice acting, which was perfect. So let's talk about the pros of this game. First of all, the improved atmosphere and visuals. The game really knocks the ball out of the park in this department. From the very moment you boot up the game, the visuals and the atmosphere really come through. They really leaned into the horror aspects of the setting and the story, and they took away from the more campy, silly look that the original game had, which to me is a huge improvement. And secondly, the incredible gameplay. No one can deny that Resident Evil 4 changed the way we look at horror games, especially Resident Evil games. Not only because of the over-the-shoulder camera, but because of how fun and engaging the gameplay is. And in this version of the game, it still conserves the heart and soul of that fun and engaging gameplay. I assure you that you will enjoy every second that you play this game, and you will want to keep shooting those enemies all day long. So in conclusion, Resident Evil 4 has always been revered as one of the best games of all time. Such a title was won by the game through its merits. The fear that many had that a remake could ruin that were completely dissipated. Resident Evil 4 Remake is definitely not a perfect game, but it's definitely an excellent game that manages the impossible. It improves on what was already a masterpiece, despite some weak aspects like the weird voice acting for Ada Wong and the missed opportunity of expanding the story and tying it to the bigger RE lore. The game still manages to outshine these flaws. The still incredibly fun and engaging gameplay, with some added new mechanics and the improved atmosphere, visuals, and story presentation, all helped excel this above and beyond. For this reason, I highly recommend Resident Evil 4 Remake to newcomers and old fans alike. So that's gonna be it for my non-spoiler review for Resident Evil 4 Remake. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
La campana. Hay que obedecerla.
Él nos invoca. tenemos que servir. Al Lord Sattler Todopoderoso.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content.